Thanks to everyone for participating to this webinar. I will now present very quickly the results from the study Circular Threads 2.0. I will go a little bit higher level because then in any case you can download the report and go more in deep on the different topics. So why we focus on the textile and fashion industry? First of all, is a question of numbers. The fashion and textile industry is responsible of 10% of global carbon emission and 20% of drinking water pollution. And actually is assumed that it could consume up to 25% of the global carbon budget. On the other side is also a company, is also at the moment really kind of linear. So based on a recent study by Circular Economy, it is around 0.3% circular. So it's really probably one of the most linear sector at the moment. On the other side, in Italy, is still a relevant market. So it generates 16.5 billion turnover with 15,300 companies and more than 400,000 employees. So it's really a relevant company. And in Italy, is one of the most relevant manufacturing industry in Europe. And on the other side, the European textile strategy aimed to change this, trying to transform the textile industry with durable, repairable, and recyclable products and made from recycled fibers. So these are the main reason why we decided to develop these second studies on circular economy applied to textile sector. So what are the main research questions that we focus on? So first of all, how circular sustainable is the Italian textile industry, and what has been the evolution since the study that we have done already in 2021? What are the perception about the importance of circular economy and the current and future obstacles and advantage of its implementation? What are the connection among key players in the textile supply chain that can actually transfer knowledge and skill about circular economy? And what are the innovative projects or cases in the textile sector, both in Italy and international? And these could be considered replicable example. And in addition, what are the tools that can be used to measure circularity? So these are the main research questions we focus on. And we also focus on four main areas that were a little bit coming out from the previous study we have done in 2021. So one is focusing on the eco-design strategy. I won't go too much focusing on eco-design strategy in this presentation, but you can find a section dedicated to it inside the report. What are the circular business model that are actually transforming a little bit the industry, supporting the duration of the clothes? And then what is the status on textile recycling? What are the main technology? Again, what is the implementation status of some of them? Or what are the example also? And also the rest, we always highlight a few of the examples that are existing. And finally, what is the cultural element? And when we talk about the cultural element, we are not only focusing on the customer, but also on the company itself. So what are the practices, but also on the policy sides. So what are the policies that are supporting the transition to the circular economy? What was the research methodology? First of all, we adopted a research methodology focusing on 5 main areas. So one was focusing on the desk research, so looking for available data that we through which we try to identify and assess the level of sustainable circular practices, both the company at sectorial level. And then we develop also a questionnaire, in some cases also with both open and closed question. In some cases also to validate what we have collected through the desk search, but also to collect some more data regarding the obstacles, the perception regarding circular economy. And then we develop also social network analysis to see how well the different actors were connected. We did few case studies focusing on measuring circularity level, to see, to develop a tool and see how some companies that are actually already performing kind of well on circular economy, how this tool would measure the level. And finally, we did an analysis we collected more than 200 cases and projects on circular economy that are actually, some of them are presented inside the report and also on the website we are developing on this project. Regarding the desk search, we analyzed more or less 350 companies. We focus on Lombardy, but we also collected, we analyzed other two districts, one of Biella and one of Prato. We analyzed both textile and so the suppliers and then the fashion companies, so more the brands, the retailers. And we identified through the desk search four macro categories, one called energy, water, and waste, another one called material supply chain, another one called communication, another one internal organization. And we define a set of action and certification in order to collect the data. What came out, as you can see a little bit in this graph, is that the overall average score is kind of low. We are talking about 13% in a score that can be from 0 to 100, so it's kind of low. But at the same time, what we can see is also that the supplier firms are performing better than the fashion firms. But what is even more evident is that the large enterprises are performing overall better than the SMEs. And this makes sense also because, of course, companies that are larger can also spend more and can acquire certain certification, and in general can be more attentive or more aware on topics regarding like energy, water and waste, material and supply chain. The other point that emerged in general is that the better performance is reached in area like communication and internal organization, while and then especially for the large enterprises, and in general, we also see, based on our analysis from the previous study, that what we saw is also an overall improvement. So if you compare the study of Circular Threads 1.0, where you can see numbers between 7 and 10%, we see in Circular Threads 2.0 an increase between 13, 15, 11, and 10%. So in some cases, the value kind of double, so moved, for example, in the area of energy, water, and waste, moved from 7 to 13%. So in general, so what we saw is a general improvement, which is kind of positive, even though the values, they remain kind of limited, kind of low. And the other thing also, fashion firms improved. So most of this improvement is coming out of the fashion firms, that definitely we could see an improvement in all the different areas. And again, most of it is still driven by the large enterprises. So we also develop a categorization, creating two axes, one with focusing on the energy and the material, and another one focusing on the communication and internal organization. Based on that, you can see we identify what we call the achievers, so the best performance in both the axes. And there you can see companies like Manteco, Alcantara, so they are both doing a lot in terms of sustainability, circularity, and also communicating, also kind of well organized. On the other side, there are the concretes. There are companies that are, in some cases, they are doing a lot, but probably not communicating so much. And while all the others remain between the laggards. So you can see the majority of the companies still remain with a limited performance compared to what could be achievable. Regarding the questionnaire, so the questionnaire is focusing on around 55 companies. We added, in addition to the to the companies from the desk search, we added 12 startups that are focusing on circular economy. So that I would say that they were created with the circular economy in mind, just to be as a point of reference of an actor that is mainly operating for the circular economy. So what came out on the perception side, you can see, let's start from the feasibility point of view. So the startup, as you can see, they consider circular economy highly feasible, while the other companies, as you can see, in some cases, they have more than average value, so they consider it less feasible. On the other side, what emerged is that the importance of circular economy that is given by the customers or by suppliers seems to be still kind of limited, or in any case, in the average. So like it still could grow in some cases. And at the other point, the familiarity of circular economy is very high for the startups, while it goes lower for the fashion firms. Of course, the sample is limited, but it's also kind of evident from this questionnaire. And the other part regarding the benefit of the circular economy, most of them, they connected to lower consumption of material, reduction of waste, a lower environmental impact, while they don't see so much into the competitiveness, which is, I think, some kind of problem, and also on the networking, which also should be a relevant element of the circular economy. On the other side, what you see, a lot of technological limitation or high cost for investments, and a lack of customer interest. So these are the three elements that are coming with a really high score. So a little bit, so the meaning could be, so there is not so much interest from the customer, but at the same time there are a lot of cost implemented and a lot of technological limitation. Why should I do it? No, so this is a little bit what is coming out. While on the other side, what is the management skills or openness to change? In general, the scores are not so considered so relevant as an obstacle. On another point that emerged is all the part of regarding the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive and European strategy for sustainable and circular textile and the extended product responsibility. So we asked what was the level of knowledge or the status of implementation. So most of the company talked about between ready and yes, it's still a kind of limited. So I would say that on these three levels is still they are still in an initial phase for most of the company that participated to the interview. And here, just to give you an example of another area of focus, here is the product design. But in any case, the questionnaire has the same structure of the desk search. So there is a part regarding energy, another part regarding waste, another part regarding material, product design, communication, internal organization. So there is a different set of questions that we made, and I won't go in deep into this call, but downloading the questionnaire, you can find a lot of information also and regarding all these areas and what we collected. Also, the social network analysis will described later by Alberto. So what we saw, I would say very high level, is an improvement of the network, a more dense network and a less isolated company, but there are still many isolated companies. So there is again an improvement on the network side, but still a lot of work to be done. And so connection that should be created between research center, universities, and companies in order to support the flow of the knowledge and the practice of circular economy, in particular from the company that have it. So we also did an assessment of circular economy. We developed a tool to measure circularity, an additional tool. We had already a few, but we developed another tool that mixed a little bit different kind of tool existing in the market and focusing on the ISO. And this tool will be presented later by Denise, and it's giving an assessment of circularity at company level. But we have also one that's focusing more at product level. And we did this assessment with one of the company we'll be presenting later, that is Nicolas, that I think is a great example of circular economy. Now I leave the floor to Martina that will present now the part of the innovative and circular economy projects.
Thank you. So for what concerns in the innovative projects, we have analyzed some initiatives that were developed by companies, organizations, and startups in the textile and fashion industry, in order to identify innovative and experimental projects that can accelerate the transition towards circular economy. So from this analysis emerged that these initiatives not only promote the sustainable and circular practices, but also create a new economic opportunity. So we can classify this project in three main categories that are circular business models, design strategies, and textile recycling technologies. So up next, we will showcase some of these examples. So the first one, in the next slide, okay, is Masted, that is an innovative Italian platform designed to transform how the textile industry manages waste and unused materials. It helps companies digitize and track the surplus inventory, including production waste, unsold goods, or defective products, samples, and returns. So with the real-time monitoring, the platform enhances the operational efficiency while reducing environmental impact. And it also helps the lower storage and disposal costs, encouraging the use of recycled materials. The next project is Our Collective, that is a luxury clothing rental platform that support the circular fashion by allowing people to rent and lend garments within the community. So by reducing the demand for new clothing production, it helps lower the fashion industry's environmental impact. And it operates on a peer-to-peer model similar to an Airbnb. And so our collective lets users monetize their unused garments. The next project is Abra, that is an innovative and sustainable vest designed by the Italian startup Nebrasky. It has a strong focus on reducing the environmental and social impact of the fashion industry. And the modular design of Abra vest allows it to be worn in three different ways. And this fact extends the lifespan and reduce the emotional obsolescence. So Abra also integrates the blockchain technology with the NFC tagged digital passport. And this ensures the full transparency on materials, production processes, and sustainability certifications. For the next project, is a MyFi project. That is a project that is transforming the textile and the automotive industry by creating sustainable fabric made from mycelium microfibers. It upcycles agrobusinesses and textile waste, such as the grain and beer residues, using fungi to produce high-quality materials. So by integrating textile scraps, MyFi develops hybrid fabrics with unique properties, and it also reducing natural resource consumption. So this is a circular approach that minimizes waste, promotes the renewable resource use, and also strengthens the local supply chain. Then the next project from Italy is Pulvera. And Pulvera uses an innovative pulverizing technology to mechanically recycle textile waste into ultrafine powder. This is a low-impact process that works with all types of textiles, including the mixed fabrics that are typically hard to recycle. So the resulting powders can be used in industry, like the plastics, rubbers, cement, and paper industry, expanding the possibilities for the textile waste reuse. So by integrating the recycled materials into a new supply chain, Pulvera reduces the dependence on virgin resources and promotes a circular economy, working with companies to make sustainable textile waste management more accessible. So the last project that we present today is Infinna. So Infinited Fiber is an industry that uses chemical recycling to convert textile waste into a new type of fabric called Infinna, that is a regenerated fiber that serves as a sustainable alternative to cotton and viscose. So it is a high quality textile filaments, and by enabling the recycling of otherwise difficult to recycle fabrics, including like polyester and so on, Infinite Fibers reduces the waste and supports a circular economy by reintegrating waste into the textile supply chain. So these were some of the projects that we will find also in the report. And now I leave the floor for the conclusion.
Let me just wrap up what we can take home from at least this part of the report and this summary is that, of course, the textile industry is relevant. The penetrations of circular economy is still very low. So the trade-off that also Andrea was suggesting makes very, very urgent and relevant cultural transformations in the end. These cultural transformations should act at different levels. So first of all, in terms of the companies, should be driven by somehow an acceleration in terms of the knowledge related to all the potential technology, new business models that are already available and are demonstrating being not only working, but potentially profitable, right? This is related to the fact that most of the time, as also was suggested by Serena, these pilots don't scale up. If we don't scale up, we cannot achieve a systemic change in the system, and therefore this idea of change will be anyway limited and the penetration will not diffuse. The second element is related not just to acting on the companies, the knowledge, and showing them that through collaborations, innovations, they can achieve such results that also will benefit not only the larger environment, but also their pockets, their bottom line in the financial balance sheet. But also, we need to act to the side of the consumer and therefore the side of the market. Again, here the effort should be systemic. Companies need to push towards this new reality and a way of thinking about the products, but at the same time, general institutions need to provide support both at political level and maybe also incentivize some of these changes through, providing, I don't know, lower taxes and expenses for recycled product and so on. From the side of consumer, many research shows that, again, people need to reframe their way of thinking related to consumptions and what is cool, let's say. Now, what is cool is keep being even like towards a transition, buying new stuff that are bio, that are potentially recycled, but for example, the vintage and the second-hand market is still considered something that is not high quality. We don't really know where this product comes from, so it's still limited in the mind of the consumer. And this is something that we can act upon. So we can really use different combinations of activities that can provide and foster this cultural change on one side. Regulations are still in place, they're important. And in this case, again, also the role of association becomes very important in their ability to translate such policies. Sometimes are difficult to understand, or they're associated within the systems in a way that can be meaningfully and also easily applied at the local level. For what concerns collaboration, I'm not going to spend time now since I have to talk about it, but I mean, one key element to change the systems towards circularity practices and knowledge will be, of course, collaboration. So we'll see that soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberto. That's a wrap on the project. And now I will very quickly talk about the study-related projects because we are a little bit behind schedule. So this study, Circular Threads, is going to host a digital platform that we're going to release, and is going to be dedicated to the dissemination of the circular best practice and projects in the textile sector. And as you can see in this slide, the sites will be like a central hub where companies can access their resources that they're going to need. In addition to that, we're going to also present a measurement tool able to assess the level of circularity of companies in the textile sector. All the information about this platform and the measurement tools will be on our website, and also a little bit on the report, and we will talk about them in the email that we will send as a follow-up to this presentation.